Greetings, everyone out there in internet land. My name is Troy Bernier, and this is the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. And we have a real gem in store for you today, especially if you like fear, horror, all kinds of frightening, thrilling things. As you know, even though we're a sci fi festival, we have horror and fantasy, which are also in the same category as fantastical content. And on that side of the spectrum, horror, they keep on giving. They keep sending us films that are so scary. It's tough for some of us judges, especially me. I'm scared to death of some of those films. It's real hard to watch this. So they have their spot, and every year they never disappoint. Never. You hear that, Shudder? It's definitely an opportunity for you with these. In any case, folks, today we have Mr. Alexander Lee Deeds, who's joining us all the way from the western perimeter of the United States with his film called Butterscotch. Butterscotch. So we're going to bring him on and let's ask him a couple of questions. Mr. Deeds, it is good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, you are coming to us from California, somewhere out west, or?
Yes, sir. Los Angeles Valley area. Yeah.
Okay, the Valley. Awesome. And you produced this short film, a short horrific film called Butterscotch. Butterscotch. So tell me a little bit about Butterscotch. What is Butterscotch about?
Butterscotch is a bite-sized horror short, as we like to describe it. And it's a really simple story. It's about a young boy who learns a lesson in manners and not taking candy from strangers, but kind of flipping it on his head a little bit. And I really love the idea of like a Grimm style fairy tale, but told in like this really kind of, I don't know, straight, different way. And
Yes.
brighter lighting, brighter colors, and somehow making that teeter into horror by the end. Yeah,
It's a twist. It's a twist. We're not going to give it away, folks. Not going to give it away, but it's a twist. And of course, I'm wearing the traditional Imperial ISB uniform. So, of course, that means we're all into the most evil, diabolical things that exist. And
absolutely.
your film fits that category. The Emperor would be so pleased. So, can you talk a little bit about what inspired you to produce this film?
For sure. Actually, it came from a practical need to just kind of practice our craft. I have a bunch of friends out here who moved out here with me in LA to make movies. And I have friends who work in the camera department, friends who work as actors, friends, in all the different disciplines.
Yeah.
And I've always been more of like the behind the scenes, editing, writing, and directing. And I was like, it's been a while since we've made something. Let's make something simple over a weekend to practice our craft, practice working together, collaborate like we used to back in college.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of grew out of that. As like a challenge to ourselves of like, how can we, one, practice our craft, but also how much can we accomplish with, small budget, a small crew, basically one room of my sister's house, and with 2 actors in a room. Like, how can we make that tense, funny, scary, with no dialogue, and learn what can we learn along the way? So,
well, you definitely perfected that recipe, and I can tell you. Wait a second, you are an award-winning submission. You are aware of that.
I am. Yeah, I was very excited to see that. Thank you so much.
You won best short for horror, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
that took it. That took it right there. You hear that, Shutter? Anyway, but yeah, it's the film. The way you described yourself and your activities. This is what I would classify as the norm for a lot of the content that we receive from the Los Angeles area. They're usually folks that it's their profession, and many get together on weekends, whatever, holidays, whatever it is, and produce these stories that are their stories, and you could always tell because the production quality is way above the bar, everything about the film is like, it's like, man, these guys, they had great equipment when they did this. Can you chat a little bit about some of the professional equipment? Matter of fact, we do have some content that we could share with
Hmm,
folks here, if you don't mind.
sure.
Um, let's see, share screen. Oh, there we go. That's a good one. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of technicals, this is a camera with some serious lens. What's going on over here? What are we looking at?
I am probably the least technically adept person out of our crew. I leave all that to my awesome DP. Her name is Megan Pham, and I've known her since college. And she's definitely like the head of that camera department. So she can tell you the ins and outs of all the lenses and the
Yes.
filters and this and that. As far
Yes.
as I know, we used an RA camera, which is our first time using it. And we both loved it. And it's definitely an area of filmmaking that I'm still learning the technical specifications of. But it's
Hmm.
awesome to
Hmm.
collaborate with her. I can tell her the idea. I can tell her the framing I want, the feeling I want it to have, and then she can translate that into the more technical details of the nuts and bolts of the camera.
Yes. Well, not to of course give it all away, but
Sure.
folks, you can see here that this is a close up. This is the of course the lens, and this is the close up right there, part of the target. So
Mm,
yeah, man, great job, great piece of work. And you said this is an RE camera, right?
hmm
Yeah, nice piece of work there. And I think we have another one. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, there's me and our director of photography, Megan. Yeah, we've collaborated
Yes,
like since we met in college, and we've collaborated on pretty much everything we've made since then.
that's
She's been
great.
my DP, she's been my producer, she's been my actress in a couple of things, and she's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So is horror your common genre? Is that what you normally produce?
It has recently, back in college, we used to make a lot of music videos, kind of more dramatic, romantic,
Mhm.
tragic stuff. We made like a bunch of funny videos and a couple of documentaries, like documentary shorts. But since being out in LA, I took a long gap where I was just working professionally as editing movie trailers.
Yeah,
And so I didn't make anything for 5 years, 6 years. And
sure.
then when I said I got to make something again, I got to direct, write something again, I got to get the team back together. Horror just felt like I haven't done a horror in a long time. They're so fun to get the whole group to collaborate on. Let's make a
Yeah,
couple horror shorts. And so that's been the last couple things, last couple years.
awesome. Okay, well that's quite the tale for this, and like I said, you definitely have the recipe, because at the end of the day, it comes down to story.
Mm,
How good is the story? And if you're able, folks out here in internet land, if you're able to put together a story in a short film, and we're talking really short, this is sub 7 minutes. This is like 6 minutes, some odd second film, correct?
yeah, about that.
Yeah, you're able to tell an award-winning story in 6 minutes. That's not easy. That's not easy. So, understanding the balance of this, understanding your storyline, keeping everyone interested throughout that period of time, where there aren't any gaps or any falls, dead space, things like that. It's a talent behind that. Can you tell us a little bit about what has been your most challenging role to date in filmmaking, and how do you think it has contributed to your growth?
Most challenging role in filmmaking. Um, I would say I would say just kind of directing as a whole. I'm a natural editor. I feel very comfortable behind a computer and
Sure.
tinkering and working on that pacing that you mentioned, and I love that.
Mhm.
But obviously, the dream is to direct, and I'm not a natural extrovert who likes being the center of a set with everyone looking at you for the next decision. So
Mhm.
it's been a challenge, but it's been a great challenge because I've grown so much having to become that on set, having to have that authority on a set. So that's been the most challenging, is getting out of my own shell, getting out of editor mode that I spend every day. That's my natural habitat. when it comes time to be on a set, you have 10, 15 people show up. You don't necessarily know who they all are if they're like their crew recommendations from friends of friends. And having to then switch into be director mode. Hey, everybody, we're doing this shot first. Let's walk through rehearsal, and being able to lead a group of talented artists when it's not necessarily like my natural state has been, I think, the biggest challenge, but also the most rewarding challenge, because I always enjoy it when I get back into the groove of being on a set.
Right. Well, can you tell us a little bit about two questions here? One, of course, there's no dialogue, so we're talking. Did you use any type of storyboard software or anything like that?
We had a big old cork board, and it was just full of index cards of like very crudely drawn pictures, stick figures.
Okay, good. And what about editing? What is your software of choice?
I am a Premiere Pro man myself. So it's been pretty much what I've always used, and yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. Let's see then. I think we have a few more questions I'd like to ask.
Sure.
What was your favorite part making this film?
Making this one in particular, I'd have to say it was getting Chad, our main actor, on stage. And I won't give anything away, but he has a certain presence that when, it's been storyboarded, it's in the script, but letting the crew kind of be there and, film these scenes and seeing their reactions, knowing like, okay, this is going to work. If the crew is into it, then I think what the finished product could be something.
How's the film been received in other festivals? Have you submitted to any other ones?
Yeah, we've had a pretty good festival run. Sorry, we had our premiere at Fantasia last August, and we've since done a lot of genre festivals. And so it's been awesome to be able to add MiSciFi to that, or MiSciFi to that, and yeah, it's been a good ride. It's been a fun ride.
Oh, that's awesome. Which particular genre festivals? Can you name a few?
So Fantasia, like I mentioned, fantastic.
Where was Fantasia? Is that Canada?
Yes, that was in Montreal.
Yes.
So we were at Fantasia, Fantastic Fest in Austin, Popcorn Frights down in Florida.
They are really good.
Yeah.
Did you go?
I wanted to. I can't. I wish I could have.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to try and get a better, travel budget for the next outing.
If you remind me, I'll send like a primer on how to travel cheap, how to make it happen. There's certain tools out there that could cut your cost 50%.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love to read that. Thank you. I think and we Shockfest I loved working with them. We had a pretty good festival run and a lot of great festivals.
Did you send it to Sitges?
I didn't even know about Sitges until we were already done with our festival run. I had friends. You can kind of see like the same kind of faces pop up in different festivals.
Sure.
And about Sitges, and I had no idea. I just completely missed the ball on that one.
That makes sense. It happens. I never knew of them until I was invited. So and they're one of the top in the world. So
where are they? They're located outside of the country, correct?
Yes. So Sitges is in the city Sitges, which is on the east coast of Spain, along the Mediterranean. It's about an hour south, maybe 2 hours south of Barcelona.
That does sound nice.
Yes, it's great. And when I was there, the festival was 3 weeks long. That many films.
Oh wow. Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's on docket for next film. the goal.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of that, what do you have in the pipeline? What's coming?
So I have a couple of film treatments, feature film treatments that I've been working on and kind of getting some eyes on, and just trying to see what I can do with those. And then as those are out, I'll work on another short just to kind of keep the iron hot, you know.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Um, I'm going to ask you some sci-fi questions.
Do it.
So, are you a Star Wars, Star Trek fan, or both?
I would say I've definitely been more of a Star Wars fan growing up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to watch the original Star Trek. I've never seen it. I've seen like clips of different episodes, but never the whole
Okay.
thing.
Okay. I think it's on Pluto TV. Either it's Pluto or what's that other one? Tubi. They have three separate streams
Oh, really?
dedicated, three separate channels dedicated to it. Because
Okay.
there's over 700 episodes of
Mm.
Star Trek.
It's a whole universe of content.
Yeah, and they're still making them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, what about science fiction in general? What's some of your favorite science fiction?
So actually, science fiction growing up, I grew up in the 90s and there was like a trio of science fiction movies that were kind of like my introduction to science fiction, but also to kind of scarier movies. And they were Independence Day, which is my favorite movie in general. I love that movie.
Okay.
Mars Attacks and Men in Black. I saw all three of those in theaters and I was like 6 or 7, but
Yeah.
over my eyes for a good amount of them. And those three movies, were like my introduction.
Man. Well, I'll be the one to say it that I'd love to see a sci-fi feature come from you. Because you're a great filmmaker. You're excellent. Your writing is excellent. You got a fantastic team with you, and I'd love to see something in the future coming from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just on behalf of the whole Butterscotch cast and crew, we're in LA, but we're also in Idaho, which is where Chad lives, and other places. Just wanted to say thank you for having us, and thank you for the great honor of the laurel and the award, and having us or having me on this interview. Getting the good news out there and getting the film out there to my childhood home. What I consider my childhood home back in Miami.
Yeah, so, awesome. Yeah,
awesome.
Well, thank you so much for making that film, and thank you even more for sending it to us. It was a real treat, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, stand by. All right, folks, that sizes it up for this episode, and we look forward to speaking with you again. Ta-ta!